Okay, so today is verses 3 and 4 of our, I believe, 13-part series on 1 Corinthians 13, which is describing the greatest attribute and characteristic of the Christian believer, which is love. So today, we're reading verses 3 and 4 of 1 Corinthians 13. So if you have a Bible, join me there and let's read. So here's what the text says. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, but I have not love, it profits me nothing. So, one of the things we learned in the past two installments, is that even if we have the gifts of different languages and different prophecies, but we simply don't have love. I'm sorry, the wind is moving the pages of my Bible, but if we don't have love, we're nothing. Paul is establishing that great gifts such as prophecy and communication are nothing without the indwelling love for the people and the indwelling love for God and his work. The apostle is now continuing to expound on this principle that if you do not have love, you are nothing. And he continues in the verse where he says, and though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, so if he sacrifices himself or he gives everything away so that someone else can be blessed, if he does not have love, it does not profit anything. It profits him nothing. And so what we learn, and we'll see this principle again and again and again, because repetition deepens the impression, is the fact that if you do not have love, if you do not really from the bottom of your heart want to see the other person grow, want to see the other person get better, want to see the other person go further in their knowledge and their experience with Jesus Christ, it does not profit you anything. Let me just give one practical example and then we'll end the video. I have a friend who we've gotten to know each other over a course of time, and he really wants to date this girl. And so he's been asking me, because I've had a little bit of experience, not too much experience, but I know enough to kind of give good direction, say, hey, don't do this, hey, do that. And he really cares for this girl. And he's doing all these things, and at some point I had to ask him about that. I said, hey, why are you doing, because he was doing various number of things. Why are you doing this thing, why are you doing that? He was like, because I want to get with her. But I was like, but I had to ask the question, do you want to just get with her, or do you love her? And we had to pause and think about that, because there is a difference. There is a difference in doing things to get a certain reward or a certain point. And okay, I don't know if I muted myself, but there's a difference. If it's still recording, there is a difference. There's a difference between doing things to a certain end, and then there is a difference in doing things because you just care about the person. And one of the things I noticed that came about through our discussions on this subject is that even though I may not be, or that'll be a second example, but he had to realize that whether or not he loved this girl. Now, ultimately, he came to the conclusion that he did. But here's what's important. He had to be able to distinguish, because there's a difference between, and I'll illustrate this in another video perhaps, there's a difference between legalism and the true love and transformation of the heart. And so the apostle really wants us to know this very vital truth, that even if we bestow our goods to feed the poor, even if we do all these outward demonstrations of piety, if we do not have love, we are nothing.